One of the most well-known figures in love and hip-hop, Mendeecees recently took a step that nobody anticipated. He's finally leaving the show that made him famous after years of scandal, family upheaval, and business conflicts. Fans are startled, perplexed, and filled with questions after this shocking revelation, which goes beyond a straightforward departure. What actually took place in the background? Did he decide to leave, or was he forced out? And above all, will Mendeecees' career come to an end? His departure is a scandal that is developing in real time, complete with shocking allegations, covert betrayals, and a decision that may potentially alter everything. It is more than simply a headline. Stay tuned as we reveal the true story of Mendeecees' unexpected departure, the ensuing pandemonium, and the stunning turns that nobody anticipated. I promise you won't want to miss the story. For weeks, the rumors had been going about, but until now, nobody wanted to believe them. The veteran of love and hip-hop, Mendeecees was officially finished. His choice to leave wasn't made quietly or in private. No, it was clumsy, theatrical, and just explosive. Mendeecees and the producers have been at odds for months, according to people close to the show, but none anticipated things would go this bad. The last straw. Behind closed doors, there was a furious argument that was so fierce that it rocked the entire production. An insider claims that the situation deteriorated to the point where security had to intervene to defuse it. However, what precisely brought about this moment? Furthermore, why did Mendeecees suddenly lose his place on a show that had been his home for years? It all began when Mendeecees started to doubt the portrayal of him. He believed that the producers were promoting a tale that was inconsistent with reality, one that portrayed him as the bad guy while allowing others to dictate how they were perceived. He was sick of being the one constantly caught in the crossfire. He had already experienced enough public crisis. However, he didn't receive the desired response when he voiced his worries to Mona Scott-Young, the influential figure behind love and hip-hop. Mona pretended to be paying attention, an insider revealed. However, behind the scenes, she wasn't attempting to listen. If Mendeecees wasn't on board with her vision for the show, he was disposable. That insight struck Mendeecees with a jolt. Years of his life had been dedicated to this franchise. For the sake of reality TV, he had made his private life, his hardships, and even his relationship with Yandy public. And he was being treated as though he didn't matter all of a sudden. He was not able to accept that. Mendeecees had issues with other people besides Mona. According to sources, several members of the cast were trying to force him out behind the scenes. On top of that list too, it was none other than Yandy Smith. Yes, you heard correctly. Insiders assert that Yandy's marriage was not as stable as it seemed on television, despite the fact that fans had always viewed her as Mendeecees' ride or die. After months of severe problems between the two, Yandy retreated when Mendeecees began to make a big impression on the set. She no longer openly supported him as she once did. She didn't defend him. Mendeecees was left to fend for himself as she instead concentrated on her own image, company, and brand. At that point, things truly started to change. Mendeecees started to express his annoyance more candidly, even in front of cameras. Producers initially adored it. They believed that the conflict between him and Yandy would be excellent television. However, things became awkward when he began criticizing the show itself. He was viewed as a liability after having been a vital member. The source went on to claim, Mendeecees was saying things on camera that producers didn't want to air. He was revealing the phony moments and pointing out how some scenarios had been staged to harm his reputation. It became evident at that point that he wouldn't be around for long. The pivotal moment occurred during a cast meeting that swiftly descended into chaos. Feeling trapped, Mendeecees made the decision to voice his opinions. He said he was being set up for failure by producers who were allegedly tampering with his plot. "What do you guys want me to do? Simply sit here and allow you all to ruin me?" He allegedly yelled. "No, I won't do it. I can see what's happening. You guys don't want me around anymore? Simply state that." He spoke something that rocked the room. A few actors were stunned into quiet. Others attempted to minimize it, claiming he was merely exaggerating. However, Mona Scott Young herself wasn't going to give him the last say. The actual fireworks then started. Mona, who usually maintains her cool, didn't hold back this time. She stood up and turned to Mendeecees, stating unequivocally that she would not allow him to control the plot of the show. "You believe that you are the focus of this," she allegedly retaliated. "This isn't run by you." "Yes, I do. You're not happy with the way things are going. Then perhaps you ought not to be present." Her remarks were sharp as a blade, as Mendeecees stared at her, attempting to comprehend what had just transpired. The room fell into an unsettling quiet. That was it. The choice was already made. He had left. Mendeecees' departure from Love and Hip Hop was announced the following morning. Fans were unaware, however, that this was war, not just a straightforward exit. Mendeecees wasn't simply leaving in silence. He spoke extensively. He also had no intention of holding anything back. Mendeecees was out, and the fallout was only getting started. The story spread like wildfire. The fans were stunned. How could someone who had played a significant role in Love and Hip Hop for so long vanish out of thin air? Though there were a ton of speculations on social media, nobody realized that Mendeecees wasn't finished speaking. For years, he had cooperated with the show's plot, allowing the creators to distort his life into whatever kind of drama that would increase viewership. Now though, he had nothing left to lose now that he was being forced out. That's when the shocking interview took place. The whole Love and Hip Hop empire would be rocked by Mendeecees' exclusive tell-all, which took place a few days after the news surfaced. Supporters thought he would dispel rumors and perhaps even lessen the shock, but his actual remarks left everyone stunned. Mendeecees, who was seated across from a famous interviewer, didn't mince words. He seemed composed at first, but as the discussion went on, it became increasingly clear that he was frustrated. He shook his head and remarked, "They didn't just kick me off. They framed me. They made sure I left because they wanted me to." Leaning closer, the interviewer pressed for further information. "Who are they?" Is Mona Scott Young in question? The creators? Other actors? Mendeecees hesitated, picking his words wisely. "Let's just say that the authorities will stop at nothing to get rid of you if you start to pose a threat." One could feel the tension in the room. This was about treachery, power, and control, not simply a TV show anymore. Then he revealed something shocking. "I received receipts," Mendeecees declared, "before I even realized it. I had emails and texts proving they were attempting to evict me." It caused the interviewer's eyes to widen. "You're implying that this was prearranged?" Mendeecees gave a nod. "Long before this, they wanted me gone. All they needed to do was make it seem like I was at blame." The industry was rocked by this revelation. If Mendeecees' claims were accurate, Love and Hip Hop had been planning his demise for months, preparing him for failure. But why was the actual question? Mendeecees then disclosed something that nobody had anticipated. With a lowered voice, he remarked, "It all began when I learned something I wasn't supposed to know. Something that would have made all the difference." The interviewer bent closer. "What was it?" Mendeecees paused for a second. He looked away from the camera, as though he wasn't sure if he should say it at all. Finally, he inhaled deeply before speaking. "I learned that a bargain had been struck behind my back. Someone close to me was involved in the deal. People I had faith in." There was complete silence in the room. The interviewer took a deep breath. "Do you mean Yandy had anything to do with it?" Mendeecees did not respond right away. Rather, as though considering the ramifications of his next words, he glanced down at his hands. Then he gave a nod. "She was aware," he acknowledged. "She was aware of what was happening, but she kept it from me." That was it. Everything changed at that very instant. Mendeecees and Yandy had always been viewed by fans as a team, a pair who had persevered through the most trying times together. Now though, it appeared that the foundation had fissures that had previously gone unnoticed. Social media went crazy. There was disagreement among fans. Some supported Mendeecees, claiming Yandy had always prioritized her brand over loyalty. Others rejected it, claiming he was simply upset over being removed off the program. But Mendeecees wasn't done speaking as the internet debated. What did he say next? The true game changer was that, "I was treated differently for a reason," he stated. why they wanted me to disappear. And the reason for this is that I refused to play the game the way they requested. I frowned. The interviewer said, "What does that mean to you?" Mendeecees let out a harsh sigh. Many things that happen behind the scenes are unknown to the public. Power movements, alliances, and deals. They will ensure that you don't stay long if you're not with the correct folks. Then he made a statement that left everyone speechless. A few of these purported reality celebrities, they aren't managing their own professions. They are in control. What if you don't comply? They take your position. The interviewer sat back, obviously taken aback. Are you implying that Mona Scott-Young was in charge of everything? Mendeecees grinned knowingly. To put it simply, some people have far more power than they would like you to believe. The tension in the room was palpable. Something that nobody dared to mention aloud had just been revealed by Mendeecees. It was impossible to ignore the way he had revealed the truth about love and hip-hop. What about the repercussions? Like an earthquake, they were about to strike. Because Mendeecees made a final statement that completely altered the situation, just when everyone thought the drama had reached its climax. He remarked, "They believe this is over, but it's only the beginning, I assure you." The interview came to an end with such remarks. However, the subsequent mayhem erupted as soon as the interview was broadcast. Social media was ablaze. Every comment made by Mendeecees was being analyzed in real time by fans, bloggers, and even celebrities. The big surprise, though, was when Yandy finally answered. She was too silent for the first couple hours following the interview. She always cleared up rumors quickly, but this time, nothing. And the rumors were simply strengthened by that quiet. She eventually broke her silence late that evening. Yandy appeared cool despite being tearful on a since-deleted Instagram Live. Prior to speaking, she took a big breath. She shook her head and remarked, "I wasn't even going to address this. However, let's discuss it as Mendeecees wants to mention me." Comments poured into the discussion. Everyone was eager to hear her side of the story. Yandy went on in a steady yet tremulous voice. "I could say some things that would ruin everything. However, I will not do that. Not because I don't have the receipts, but more because, whether he realizes it or not, I genuinely care about Mendeecees." The comments were unbelievably tense. Fans wanted to know if she was refuting or verifying Mendeecees' statements. She then revealed her own shocking revelation. "Do you truly want to pretend that you are the victim, Mendeecees? As if you were unaware of the precise circumstances?" She shook her head and scoffed. "Stop playing, boy." That was all that was required. The internet changed in a matter of minutes. Mendeecees' charges were no longer the only topic of conversation. They wanted to know what he was concealing. However, when Mona Scott-Young joined the discussion, the actual mayhem began. When it came to cast turmoil, Mona, the creator of Love and Hip Hop, had never been involved. She stayed out of the public eye and let the plots unfold. However, this was not like the others, because Mona Scott-Young addressed a scandal head-on for the first time in her life. Some people rewrite history when it doesn't work in their favor. Keep that in mind, was the only cryptic statement she put on her Instagram story. However, it was sufficient. Was she implying that Mendeecees was lying? The ramifications were enormous. Was she implying something more significant? Fans scrambled to figure out what she was saying, but the true shock came out before they could get any answers. An email exchange between producers was disclosed by a well-known Love and hip-hop insider who had worked on the show for years. And what did it show? Everything altered as a result. One thing was clear from the emails, which were sent months before Mendeecees was fired. His departure was prearranged before any of this drama began. An email purporting to be from a senior producer expressed worries regarding Mendeecees' contribution to the program, saying, "He's no longer bringing the drama we need." That one sentence reaffirmed what Mendeecees had been saying all along. If he doesn't want to play ball, we may need to start transitioning him out. He had been set up by them. The responses came right away. Supporters hurried to his defense, charging Mona and the Love and Hip Hop crew with behind-the-scenes cast manipulation. Others criticized Yandy, claiming that she must have been aware of what was occurring, but chose to ignore it. Mendeecees wasn't finished yet, though, as the internet debated. because he went live on Instagram and he had receipts. Just as things were reaching their zenith, he held up his phone while he sat in front of the camera, scrolling through emails, screenshots, and text messages. He read enough to support his argument, but he didn't show them everything. He remarked, "They believed they could play me, but they overlooked the fact that I've been playing this game for too long. Before things happen, I can see the motions." The comments went wild. Supporters pleaded with him to reveal everything and to remove all the receipts. However, he ended the live stream just as the pressure increased. At that point, things took a turn nobody could have predicted, because an anonymous account began sharing screenshots immediately after Mendeecees logged out. Producer emails, cast member text exchanges, and even a contract provision that suggested the true reason Mendeecees was fired were among the revelations. And the most startling aspect, it implied that Mendeecees' close associate had been collaborating with the producers from the beginning, someone who had pushed him away, a person he trusted. Although Yandy wasn't specifically named in the leaks, people quickly began blaming him. The idea was straightforward. Producers needed someone close to Mendeecees to support their plan if they wanted him gone. Who could be more suitable than his own spouse? Yandy's social media accounts were inundated with comments in a matter of minutes. Answers were being demanded. Was Mendeecees deceived by her? Was she involved in the arrangement? But another leak surfaced before Yandy could reply. What about this one? Everything altered as a result, as Mendeecees wasn't the subject. It concerned a different cast member who had experienced a similar expulsion. What about the name that surfaced? Jim Jones. According to the released emails, Jim had been fired from Love and Hip Hop years prior for similar reasons. He was informed that his plot wasn't working. He was forced into needless drama. And finally he was let go. History was being repeated, and now blood was what the fans demanded. Mendeecees began by revealing his own failure, but now, inadvertently, he had shown a trend that implied Love and Hip Hop had been coercing cast members for years. What's the most absurd aspect? Mendeecees hinted at one last surprise in the closing moments of his interview, but he still had one more to share. What was he going to say? It would tremble the whole sector. Mendeecees was unable to stop what he had started. What started out as a personal battle against hip-hop and love has grown into a full-fledged movement. An increasing number of former cast members began to speak out. Old secrets came to light again. In order to determine how much of the previous controversy had been twisted behind the scenes, fans were revisiting it. What's the biggest surprise? Rumor had it that the network was thinking of permanently discontinuing the program. However, Mendeecees, he wasn't finished yet, because he made a final announcement that left everyone stunned after the dust settled. He was permanently quitting reality TV. This went beyond simply giving up Love and Hip Hop. Mendeecees had left the business. And to demonstrate it, he took an unexpected step. He erased all of his Instagram posts. Incredulous, fans reloaded his page. Everything was vanished, including the statements and the drama. Hours of stillness were followed by his one and only post, a black and white picture of himself with the simple words, "Sometimes, you gotta walk away for good. Thank you to all of my supporters. You are the genuine ones. No more cameras, no more phony stories, just real life." The comment section went crazy. People were incredulous. He took charge of his own life, and some were proud of it. Some were dubious, questioning whether this was only a publicity gimmick. However, it was evident that Mendeecees had formally severed their connection with Love and Hip Hop. What about the network? They were rushing, because Yandy's plot was unraveling without him. Their intermittent drama had been one of the show's main draws for years. Now though, fans were accusing the producers of manipulating the couple's issues to boost their ratings. Yandy, however, said nothing for a long time. However, her words only served to exacerbate matters when she did speak. She appeared worn out and exhausted on an Instagram Live, as if she hadn't slept for days. "I don't even know half of what's been going on behind the scenes," she remarked in a low, nearly dejected voice. She made no affirmations. I just need time to process everything." Nothing was denied by her. However, That was plenty to convince people that she and Mendeecees were at a breaking point. Another bombshell was dropped just when folks believed that things couldn't get any worse. A recording that purportedly showed a furious dispute between Mendeecees and a love and hip-hop producer was released. I've been playing along with you guys for years, but I'm done with it. You guys are twisting everything and making me look crazy. A voice that sounded a lot like Mendeecees could be heard saying in the tape. You guys can find someone else to be the villain. I'm not signing any more contracts. I'm not coming back. The producer's answer was mute, but it was clear that they were frustrated. This was more than just a quarrel. Mendeecees was outspokenly criticizing the way the event was operated. Just like that, the story changed. The departure of Mendeecees was no longer the only issue. It was about his reason for leaving. Supporters wanted explanations. They were curious as to how much of what they had seen over the years was written and how much was true. Former cast members began sharing their personal stories. Some supported Mendeecees, claiming that they had also been duped by the creators. Others attempted to defend the program by asserting that while reality TV was always scripted to some extent, it wasn't always funny. However, the harm was already done. There was a complete crisis on the network. In an attempt to minimize the problem, executives were rushing to release statements. However, things deteriorated the more they attempted to control the story. In an attempt to determine what had been true and what had been made up for amusement, fans started sifting through old clips from previous seasons, dissecting every altercation, every split, and every startling incident. Members of the cast who had been quiet for years finally spoke up. The most important topic of all was then raised. What would become of Yandy and Mendeecees at this point? Would Mendeecees' marriage last without the cameras now that they were no longer on reality TV? Their relationship had always been thought to be a TV show, that there wouldn't be anything left between them if the show, contracts, and celebrity were gone. And now it seems that they were going to discover whether or not that was the case. There were rumors that Yandy was having trouble making the choice. According to some stories, she was devastated by Mendeecees' departure. Others claimed that she was thinking of quitting love and hip-hop. However, one thing was for sure: nothing will ever be the same. The show's focal point, the power couple, was no longer there, and their lives were going to be totally unplanned for the first time in years. However, Mendeecees did something that rocked the business just as fans believed the drama was finished. He declared that he was writing a book that will reveal everything. A book that would reveal everything. And not just any book. Every fabrication, deception, and insider tip from his years on reality TV. The heading? Unscripted: Mendeecees Harris's True Story. The world suddenly realized that, despite Mendeecees' departure from love and hip-hop, he had not finished sharing his story. Not quite yet. Would Yandy's stunning truths be revealed in the book? Would the producers be exposed? Would it finally put an end to love and hip-hop? No one was certain. However, there was no denying that Mendeecees had just permanently altered reality television. And this, his next chapter, was only getting started. The tale of Mendeecees Harris and love and hip-hop has suddenly taken a turn that nobody anticipated. One major issue is raised by his departure: the conflict behind the scenes and the leaked recordings. Was love and hip-hop ever really real, or was it all a well-planned delusion? Fans are unsure of what will happen next. Is Yandy going to quit the show as he did? Will even more startling facts be revealed by Mendeecees' candid book? Above all, has love and hip-hop finally found a match? We would like to hear from you now though. Do you believe that Mendeecees' decision to leave was the right one? Is his career coming to an end? Or is he set to embark on something even more ambitious? Furthermore, do you think Yandy knew more than she disclosed? This discussion is far from done, so please share your ideas in the comments section below. Additionally, be sure to click the subscribe button and enable notifications if you want to be informed of all the most recent developments. It's only the beginning of this story, and I promise you won't want to miss what comes next.